Hello everybody, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 7, Round 14. We are in Mexico City for Round 14 of January, which is of course another elimination event, which should be good fun. Now I am joined by two people in the commentary box. The namesake for the league has told me not to introduce him first, so instead we're going to go to Kyle, who's looking forward to ruin a stream, or perhaps be professional. We're not on a Tuesday, we're not allowed to be unprofessional, I'm afraid. But welcome along, regardless.
Thank you. I'm very professional, so you've got nothing to worry about. I'll try not to swear, no promises.
Well, it's a good start. I've obviously failed on that miserably on Tuesday, as did Gareth, as did Jacko last Thursday. So, I mean, you've got plenty of inspiration there, but hopefully we'll try and go back to being a professional league. But yes, we are here in Mexico. There's no jokers tonight, which makes our job a little bit easier. And Jacko, do you fancy talking yet, or are we ready?
Oh, I absolutely must. I don't know why you want me to talk so bad. I'm going to be doing a lot of that next season by the sounds of it, Owen, but you know, that's a conversation for another day.
That's meant to be me saying that bit. I do that when I'm ready.
And this is Owen signing off at Silverstone. No longer! Yeah, you're going to hear my voice. But yeah, I'll save your special moment for later in the season.
Well, you sort of already announced it, but let's just hope everyone just forgets about it. And we'll move on. As we are...
I am well, if that's what you want to hear from me. I am well.
Well, at your old age, you'd hope so. But it's good to see you still chugging along.
Me and my bad back.
Yes, and now you have today announced a deal with Tesco. And now I'm not entirely sure how this all works. I'm sure you are very proud of this. We've got this Tesco Club Card Shootout. What on earth is one of them?
So I needed... Again, they're like Premier Inn and Kia. They are not sponsors. I do not want sponsorship. They are just a name that we can use to put to something else that I've created and come up with. In a way to enhance driver retention throughout the season. As you know, you get a few people, they'll be sort of on the borderline of going to the chase or going to the playoffs. This should keep them racing and pushing for the playoffs more, because obviously if you beat your opponent each week, whoever your opponent may be, you will get playoff points at the end of it. So we're next season restructuring the... one second, let me get up so I can actually talk to you about it. We're restructuring the rewards for the playoff point system at the end of the regular season. At the moment, it's free drivers get the top three get the free playoff points. Yeah, that's going to become 4, and then the bottom 16 over the final 4 races of the regular season will be in a knockout head-to-head competition each week. So, like for example, this week Kyle is up against OKK. So if Kyle beats OKK on track, he will then advance to the quarterfinals, where he'll play either Yuri or Pete, and has to do the same again. And of course, we got Tesco on board for this one. I thought, what better thing to name it than the Club Card Shootout, and that's what we've gone for. So whoever wins that at the end of those 4 races will get 6 playoff points. This season, though, it is just a trial. There's 4 races left. So I thought it's a good time to trial it. It'll work though. I know it will.
Well, there you go then. It's a lot more simple, I imagine, than it sounded. But yeah, Club Card Shootout. That is some name. I bet. I was going to say a Tesco Club Card's not as valuable as that, but in fairness, in this economy, maybe you give them a week free Club Card account in case they're dumb enough to not have one already.
And also, Owen, don't forget that every week there's going to be a Tesco Finest headline event. I can hear Kyle stepping and laughing. The Tesco Finest, which this week is Ben Harrett versus Michel Goris.
Because why not?
I think this is the first time we've had a live audience in the commentary box.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, right.
So you're welcome.
Well, no pressure on you then for that, but we do have qualifying happening. Shall we follow KK around before we forget what we're here for? Forget all this Tesco talk. We've got a lap to do, and I believe there's a wet racing incoming, Kyle. Can you confirm?
Well, the little box at the top saying a bit of sun, a bit of cloud, a bit of rain. So going off that, it could be anything. It might snow.
Well, we've had changeable conditions here in the past in Mexico. That's where Kieran, I believe, got his first victory back in Season 5 in very dramatic circumstances when they basically nicked it off Corey right at the end, and the man wasn't happy about it. But if we get anything similar to that again today, which by the sounds of it we might well do, we could be in for a bit of a mixed up sort of result, and we could do with that if you're in the chase or if you're looking to try and bump your way up into the top 6 for the playoffs. Of course, let's say 2 drivers do get knocked out. The 2 drivers at risk. We'll save the more in trouble one till last, but first of all, we've got Casper, who's going to be going out later on in qualifying, and we've got Kyle, who's got the audience, he's got us to deal with, he's got Jacko to deal with on track, we haven't mentioned that, and yeah, you've got to make up 14 points on Yuri, and Gareth's 16 in front of you, so how on earth are you going to do that?
I mean, if I'm honest, I don't think it's very possible, but best you can do is just try and win the race, go from there. It's just going to be dependent on what everyone else does, really. A few crashes and it might happen, but it's wishful thinking.
Well, we'll hope you get the changeable conditions then. That might be actually what you need as we follow Quinn in his Mexico livery, by the looks of it, trying to beat OKK's 118.3 and doing so. Jacko?
Yeah, I asked the public earlier who's going to get eliminated tonight, so an open poll. The options were Gareth, Yuri, Casper and Kyle. Kyle, by the way, got 63% of the vote, so they think on -14 he is down and out. And going with him, they also think with 26% of the vote Yuri is going to join him, but he's actually +3 at the moment, so people seem to be backing Casper to get through tonight and advance into the round of 6 along with Gareth.
Well, yeah, I don't know, Casper's been a bit on and off though, hasn't he, this season?
He's like your ex-missus, isn't he? Goes hot and cold.
Right, well, can't relate to that one yet. As he comes to the line, 1.6 seconds
I wasn't meant to be funny.
Quinn. Also running a Mexico-based livery. We might see a few of those tonight by the looks of it. And let me try and find who's next. We've got Risky up to the line. He goes second fastest for speed, and Michel Goris. But yes, we do see Casper a bit on and off with form, and hopefully he'll be back up there tonight, because I think he has more of a chance of getting all the way if he can pick his form up than Yuri would, and I think Gareth tends to be consistent enough to get up there. But look, anything can happen. Like I say, we have those changeable conditions later on. It can really throw this all up. Michel Goris is out there. Now he's finally put on his nice livery again. Not that the other ones weren't nice as well, but this is the best one he has. It's my favourite. I don't know how you think about this, if you want to have a little look at it while you're in the garage. The lovely red and black and a little bit of yellow. It's a very...
Who am I looking at, Aaron? Because I lost total track.
Michel Goris, look at how beautiful his livery is.
It's very nice. I do like it. It's almost somewhat reminiscent of one of those early 90s Ferraris, isn't it? With the deeper red and the yellows on.
Almost a Mugello one as well.
Michel.
Very nice,
he will go third. Next up, actually, is debutant Rico Beckenkamp. Obviously raced in the Kia Series all of this season, but this is his Cup debut, and I think he is driver number 64 in the Cup Series. I will get back to you and confirm that as he completes his lap.
Yes, and he's ditched the Dayglow green, interestingly. I quite liked his sort of very, very bright livery. It stood out quite a lot, even though there was a few other green cars in the Kia Series. Sadly, he crashed out right at the end of the race on Tuesday in Austria.
Driver 76, he is.
You're quite a long way off then. From your own stat sheet. All you had to do was look down and read it. As Racing crosses the line, Rico, to go 6th fastest, also known as slowest for now, but he's here, that's all that matters. And we have Matt Roseman. Now, he's kept his livery from Tuesday night, which is good to see because I'm quite a big fan of it. Bar the American flag for a helmet, but it can't all be perfect. As he comes through the middle sector, Pete's time still holding strong up front. Like I say, he's in the Mexico colours, as is Quinn. I don't know how many others are going to fancy running that. Unless, no, I think they're the only two actually. So at least in that particular livery template. But, well, they'll be at the front of the grid, I would have thought. Newgarden not going to beat Pete. He will replace Quinn, though, in 4th position.
It's Matt Newgarden, his first appearance in the Cup Series since Season 5 as well. The same season in which Kyle actually rage quit JACKOCAR briefly. And, of course, he's now back.
Did I?
You left.
You left for a season.
I had a
Because you
holiday.
weren't winning.
I'll call it a holiday. No, definitely a holiday.
Fair enough.
That'll be both of us leaving then by the time he finishes second in the championship again this season. As Leroy crosses the line to go second fastest. Still no one really getting close to Pete's time. How about Ben Harrett? One of 2 winners that we have so far in the chase, the other one being Leroy, who has just gone second fastest. And Ben leading the chase by 3 points. Leroy second, then Michelle Gorey 7 points back, and then Risky a further point on top of that. They are the 4 sort of main contenders, because after Risky in 14th, you've got Jess in 15th, and there's 18 points between those two, and Jess 26 points off the top in general. I mean, Pete, if he can hold the P1, he's 28 points off. So it'll take quite a miracle for any of those guys to get in. So I'd really be focusing on that top 4, and we'll keep an eye on their progress tonight. Leroy, obviously the highest of those drivers so far, but they are line of start at the minute, second, third and 4th. Where is Ben going to end up? He will join them, and so it'll be actually the second down to 5th, all of the top 4 chase drivers, and hopefully they can be kept together, because that'll be a very entertaining scrap to watch throughout the evening. Now, MK Bourne, one of the drivers who sadly is out of the running for the championship after his win in Canada, sort of ruined his season and sort of put him into the playoffs where he didn't really ever stand a chance, did he, I guess. Goes 6th fastest though for now. Good that he's still showing up. Maybe he can win some points and some. I mean, we can throw a club card if he fancies it. As,
all he's doing at the moment is fighting this man, Jamie Griffiths, for what will eventually be 11th or 10th in the overall standings. Jamie running an old Lotus livery by the looks of it. 2012, dare I say, Owen?
Certainly got the right colours for it. Maybe not the right sort of template, but yeah. Different. Definitely different for Jamie Griffiths' normal sort of colour scheme. And a little bit of a shock to the eyes, but hopefully his time will be decent. Game will obviously claim a Purple Mill sector. We never know if that's actually true or not. Most of the time, quite frankly, it isn't. But still, we will have a look and see how the time ends up. Big slide out of the final corner. That's not going to help his run, and it was a decent lap up to that point. P4 probably would have been at least P3 by that slide, possibly higher. Now, Yuri is next up, and we do give him quite a lot of stick for being in the Kia series in general, but this is really his main focus, getting himself through this round of 6, or round of 8, I should be saying, for the Cup series. He's currently, as we say, there by 3 points, but the public do think he's in for a elimination tonight, so let's see if he can go against what the public thinks and put himself in the running, as he goes only 3rd fastest behind Leroy and of course Pete, who is still holding tremendously strong up there. And
I really hope Yuri advances, actually, because there's this talk of him being full-time Cup only next season. Of course, if he has any excuse to be Kia as well, you know he'll take it. So I hope he gets through. I mean, we will lose Kyle and or Casper with that, but to free up the Kia series for people like myself next season, we need to get rid of Yuri full-time.
Yeah, fully agreed. I'm sure he won't agree though, but oh well. Here is Casper himself then. Like I say, I've got a good feeling about him tonight. It could end up being complete rubbish, but we'll see how he gets on anyway. He's on the bubble, he's under pressure, gotta make it happen, and I'm trying not to distract the next driver up because he is on his lap at the moment. He's going for the S's, but we'll focus on him in a moment. As Casper hugs that inside line, still not going to beat Pete's time. He's holding very strong up there, but Kyle, on your way into the final sector. I'll not make you talk us through it, but I'll get your thoughts at the end of the lap as you head through the last couple of corners. You've got that 1 minute 16.486 set by Pete right at the start of the session. He's only the third driver across the line. It's still holding P1, and you're going to get close to it, but again, not beat it. How was the lap?
Bit scrappy first sector. I've got a small feeling there's a bit of a mix of setups between wet and dry. So yeah, I think this is going to be a bit interesting in the race. Depends how long the rain really lasts for, or if it's coming at all. But a solid lap, I suppose.
Well, you're half a second ahead of Yuri, so at the very least you've got the pace over him. You'll need things to go wrong for him tonight, of course, but and you're ahead of Casper as well, just about. So there's potential there for you to get through tonight. Kieran has a qualifying ban, which means we get to watch Jamie Wright's entire lap here, Jacko, which is exciting.
It's a shame I won't be able to help commentate over it because I am last out in qualifying.
Yeah.
So you're on your own.
Well, I was hoping you'd maybe take the last few seconds to give us some insight.
No, I've had to go. Just the one thing that I do know about Jamie Wright is he is chasing a hat-trick of crashes in the last 3 seasons here.
That's brutal.
I believe they both happened. I believe they both happened within
the same
2-3 corners
yeah.
of each other as well. We're still heading through to Jamie's bogey section. The first of those crashes came, the more dramatic one, in season 5 when he came through this little left-hander here, having just done a double overtake for the lead, hit the wall on the left-hand side, and me and Jacko broke the sound barrier. It was one of the most dramatic endings to a race we've ever seen in this Cup Series, and you've seen how mental they get. Just take a look at last week, for instance. But certainly give season 5 Mexico a look after this, because you'll have a good time. But it's looked an alright lap from Jamie. His confidence, I don't know where it's at really at the moment, because he's essentially set for Championship 5, but it doesn't feel like he's got Championship 5 pace really anymore. I don't know really what's happening. He's still behind Pete. Gareth is out there. He'll be the next one up. And that's an interesting looking livery. That's the inside of someone who's had a lot to drink. I don't know how people are going to understand that joke, but I understand the joke as he heads through the middle set, or the start of the final sector, and then through the final corner. Obviously, he gives a lot of people stick in the K series. I like them all, but this will be a good opportunity to give Gareth a bit of trouble because he's only 10th fastest, and that is shocking. Now,
Notoriously bad qualifier. Don't forget, it's Gareth.
This is a crucial moment then, because Iceman, no offence to Jacko, but realistically, Iceman, Iceman is the only person, realistically, who can beat Pete, who is still out there in P1 with that 1 minute 16.486, of course, the Season 1 champion. Although it has to be said, Iceman is looking pretty quick through the first 2 sectors. That was very committed for the S's. And in towards the stadium section, hitting the apexes relatively well, nothing really going wrong at the rear. Final corner. Hits the apex curb, gets himself well to the exit without losing the rear again. 16.4 to beat, he's going to smash it. It's Iceman on pole by 6/10 of a second, unless Jacko can do anything about it. But, let's say, I'll take a miracle, especially with that entry into the S's, and that second part, and that third part. And you know the rest. I'm not going to believe for the rest.
If Iceman somehow holds on to this pole, it will be the record for the league, by the way.
Yeah, it's a record
going clear of Arnold and Jamie.
You're only about 2 seconds off him at the minute, so that is, well, maybe a little less than that.
There's still time to bring it back, Owen. Have some faith in your league owner. Come on.
You just missed all the corners that you're meant to be cutting, so I don't think it's.
Yeah, I know, it's because you're fucking talking to me. Sorry.
And there we go. It's the lack of professionalism once again, which brings Jacko to 13th place. Here, sorry. Qualified.
Didn't mean to swear.
Which means that Iceman is on pole position. Shock horror. But he is indeed the new record holder for league pole positions. Congratulations to him. You have broken Jacko himself, my friend.
I'm so happy you scored before I did.
I'm going to have to adjust my levels so I can actually hear the car, Owen.
Well, I'm sorry. This is your fault. I meant to be here to talk to you and get your insight on. You get plenty of insight, to be fair. But he's celebrating.
Oh, look at him celebrating.
You do realise the race is still to come. Well, mind you, he's already advanced. Actually, it doesn't really matter, does it? He's well advanced. I think him and Jake O'Sullivan are essentially through to the Championship 5, frankly. Jimmy Wright, close enough. But here is the grid then for the Mexico City Grand Prix. Iceman on pole, no surprises there. Pete, second on the grid, very strong from the Season 1 champion. Jimmy Wright in third. Kyle, considering I was talking to you during the lap, you didn't bottle, you didn't lose your head, and you went fourth fastest. Gives you a decent chance if the rain does come and spice things up. Casper 5th, Leroy 6th, Yuri 7th, Risky, Jamie Griffiths and Michelle Garis comes at the top 10, and Gareth, Ben Harrett, Jacko, MK Bourne, Newgarden, Quinn, OKK, Rico and Kieran, who had a qualifying ban.
So Kieran's going to get a little bit of payback for what he did to Jake last week. I'm going to do to him this week.
I mean, if it gives us the
behind me
entertainment,
long enough.
I mean, that was obviously
Absolutely,
for the lead.
it will.
So this will be
Yeah,
less.
but I had this conversation with Gareth in his podcast. I recorded this about an hour ago, and I don't quite understand what Kieran was doing, to be totally honest with you, because Jake had already advanced to round of 6, and then you've got Kieran a pit stop down, and Jake with a 3-second penalty. He just had to sit behind him and take the win, but he didn't want to play it like that. So who knows, Owen?
I mean, I quite enjoyed the battle last week because it gave us, well, a fair fight. I thought it was a fair fight, frankly. For this league standards, what were we expecting? So I thought it was.
So he was penalised. I don't know if you saw that bit.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I can't lie to you, I don't agree with it, but I'm not the one who makes the decisions. But I was a bit on Kieran's side with that one. I enjoyed it, and that's what we're here for, the entertainment value more than anything. But that's just what I think. Obviously we're running this. Well, actually, I'm gonna just quickly check it. It is sunset we're running this, isn't it? Yes, it is. So it's hard to gauge the sort of condition because obviously it looks a bit dull and dark, but that's because the sun's literally going down. So we'll have to wait for the clouds themselves to emerge. Now, you obviously have 7 weather slots that you can now see on your screen. What are they saying?
The last one is rain. Everything else is dry or overcast.
So this is literally going to be coming right to the end of the race, this rain. Does that change your strategy then? Are you just going to end up mediums, hards, avoiding the sauce and trying to go long, or what's the idea?
I'm looking about. We've got quite a mix. Jamie on hards. I don't think it's going to come enough to go on to wets, if I'm honest. So just do a dry strategy and just see what happens, really. Right,
so a lot actually of the grid are on sauce. I say that, it's a 50-50 split really. So it's softs for Iceman, Pete, Kyle, Casper, Leroy, Yuri, Risky, Michelle Goris, Jacko, Quinn and Rico. And mediums...
There's a lot of cars going off, by the way.
Yes, that's a tire warming technique. Mediums for Jamie Griffiths, Gareth, Ben Harrett,
Oh shit!
Bourne. Yeah, I saw that. Newgarden, OKK, and Kieran, and everyone's off. Rico, and a very interesting livery there for Kieran. Another ugly one. We like the ugly ones. Nice to see it. The only driver on the grid who starts on the hards, Jamie Wright, the 2-time crasher, the 2-time champion. He's going to be in for an interesting evening, I think. And possibly with one of the longest runs, I think actually the longest run towards turn 1 of the whole season. A lot of cars on his rear into turn 1, 2, 3, 4 chicane. A lot is going to happen on this start. And I don't know what the right strategy is. Obviously I'm not racing it, you guys are, but my thing is, surely if you know you're going to make 2 mandatory stops, does it not make more sense to go medium to hard or something and risk the rain being a little bit heavy, and then you get to make that 3-second stop while everyone else is making a third? Does that not, or do you not think that's likely? Because I think that's what particularly Jimmy Wright is going to end up trying to do.
Personally, I'm just here for vibes and to make numbers up.
My strategist ain't here tonight. Jake, thank you for no strategy. So I
you've got to
don't
win the
know.
race. You've got to do something possibly different to make sure this happens for you. So
Yeah, see, Jack says he's here to boost the numbers up. He's actually here to take out my rivals.
well, he's crashed on his own already on the formation lap, so I wouldn't give him
Spun.
much of a chance.
Let's
Oh,
get that
sorry.
right.
Sorry.
Spun,
You
not crash.
spun.
I
You
didn't hit
spun.
anything.
Yeah. Why did you do that?
I don't know, I'm slightly over-aggressive on the steering input. That's why. Also, do you want to watch me disqualify myself going into the box? Because I do that every time.
Yeah, same as me.
How hard is it to get in the box? I don't understand how you keep messing this up. You know you can crawl into the box, right?
I do
No, I
crawl
didn't
into
know
the
that.
box.
I actually didn't know that.
Well, you can crawl into the box. You don't have to go in at speed. I don't know, some more tire warming going up there. I'm sure you'll disqualify Matt Roseman for that one.
Jamie's been disqualified.
He's been disqualified, which makes his start on these hards even more tricky.
Wow. Because he was icebox.
And risky. Oh, Jacko. No,
I think I've made it through the start this week.
Yeah, nicely done.
Thank you.
There's Gareth showing you how it's done. Right there. And obviously Yuri, both of those two out of kilter, as they always are. 5 lights here in Mexico City. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. It's a very good start from Iceman. He'll lead this into turn 1. Kyle's already up to second place. And Jamie Griffiths, or Jamie Wright I should say, has actually got a pretty good toe on Iceman. So the less grip on the tyres, he will still have good position into turn 1. I'll be very curious to see how it goes there, because here comes Kyle having a go. Is there front wing damage? I hope there isn't. You're still side by side there with Jimmy Wright. I was expecting his rear tyres to be done into turn 1. He would just have no grip, but he's made himself respectably still in 3rd place. No damage, was there, Kyle?
Nah, all good.
And that was an attempt for the lead there. Wheel binding with Iceman, but well avoided, well survived. A bit more side-by-side action going on. Pete's under a little bit of pressure. I'm trying to see if he's actually got a broken front wing or if he's just slowing down. He is just slowing down. No damage. Risky and Yuri. Yuri the man under pressure here. Obviously anything goes wrong here. And Kyle's got a realistic chance. Newgarden is into the wall. That could be a safety car. We'll have a wee look at the boards, and it is indeed a safety car. And so Yuri surviving the start. Like I say, he's just got to finish the race. That's going to be his main priority. Just finish the race. He can't do much about what Casper's doing, because Casper's good 4 cars in between those two, or 3 cars, I should say. So. We'll see what Yuri does. You might have to make 1 or 2 overtakes later on, but for now it's just keeping it on the island. No one's going to pit unless they have damage on this first lap, although I wouldn't be at all surprised if the safety car's still out on lap 3. We'll see a couple of people taking a mandatory, although I have a feeling they'll be coming in by the end of that, because the whole field's packed up and no one is into the pits to repair any damage. So I guess that means he just crashed on his own then, Jacko. I guess you saw it.
Yeah, he basically did a Jamie Wright, and what's interesting about that, if you're superstitious, that was Matt Newgarden's, or Matt Rosamond's 13th Cup Series start, so unlucky for some, including Matthew himself.
Wow.
That's on the go. I don't even have the laptop in front of me.
Right then, so we are behind the safety car, like I say. Nothing really is going to happen, I guess, for a little bit. So I'm surprised Jimmy Wright, we'll talk about him then, because I was worried he was going to fall down a little bit, and he's ended up surviving quite well. He'll have a better chance to heat the tyres up that wee bit more throughout the safety car period, and yeah, we'll see if we can get into the race, because I do think he's on the right strategy, because he'll end up on the mediums later on, I would have thought. And if the rain comes at the right time, these safety cars is obviously going to accelerate that rain potential for the end of the race, because you're running around 30 seconds a lap slower. I don't know. I think he's got it right. But you will obviously disagree.
One thing I noticed, not related to Jamie Wright, was on that opening lap, Gareth was struggling. I think he's lost 2 or 3 positions there, but he was actually way down in 16th at one point. So he's recovered a little bit. Maybe a little bit too cautious, but obviously that's no good for him being down there. It puts him at threat of being knocked out by the likes of Kyle, who apparently is in the leaders race, or P2?
P2, mate, P2.
P2.
He's bricking it, he's bricking it.
Because bear in mind, a Kyle win overcomes that points deficit and would put Casper and Yuri at risk, but also Gareth only 2 points clear of Yuri, so they've all got to be careful.
Yeah, Gareth is, I suppose, I always expect Gareth will end up going further up in the race, but of course that is a good point, that Yuri is overtaking Gareth, so Gareth actually is the one. If it finished now, Gareth would be absolutely screwed. And he would be joining us in the commentary box for the Championship 5. That tends to be how it works. Although we might actually get to racing it this time. I'm gonna have to make him do driver comms. I know he doesn't want to, but we'll make him do it at some point, because I think it'd be quite good entertainment. Now, lap 3, end of this lap, you can pit and make your first mandatory stop. That counts.
I don't think it's worth it.
That counts. That counts even if you're you can follow the safety car in for that, obviously, can't you?
No.
No. Okay.
If you follow the safety car in, it's non-mandatory, but obviously you know you can do one stop under safety car itself, with the exception.
So that's why I'm clarifying. So that's the only way you can do the non-mandatory in that situation.
Yeah. Providing you don't follow it in.
Yeah.
But say if someone, say it was lap 3 a lap ago, everyone could have made a stop then if they wanted to.
Can I ask a cheeky question?
Go on.
No.
Where's the safety car line?
Actually, no, it's
I
funny.
don't know.
It's funny.
Your benders.
No one knows, because I was about to ask the same question. As Iceman gets himself around the final corner, I think it's going to be pretty obvious. I imagine it'll just be that pit commitment line, which doesn't exist. There it is.
He made the restart zone, by the way, so he should know it.
Well, he's away now, and Kyle is asleep. He is completely asleep, and this is the one safety car restart you don't want to be asleep for, because you have the whole field bearing down on you towards turn 1. There's going to be 5 or 6 different drivers here looking to gain positions, and it's 3-4 wide already towards turn 1. Jimmy Wright holding the advantage. Leroy having a look, and Casper into turn 2, trying to make things work. He should get the exit out of 3, but instead loses the back end and gets collected. He's into the barrier, as is Jamie Griffiths, who's had a separate incident. But Casper, who needed a good result today, is falling to the back, as is Yuri, who's also got involved. And there'll be a certain Mr. Kyle in second place. He'll be very much looking forward to the end of this race if it stays like this. In second place, Casper 16th, Yuri 17th. I think you're looking quite good here, Kyle, but it's very early days, of course.
Yep. Car's not very stable, so it's going to be about getting to the end.
Easier said than done here, especially with those S's, but again, I don't expect Jimmy Wright's going to be much of a problem for you after this. You've already escaped that 1 second gap. DRS will be enabled in another 2 laps. We'll have a look and see if anyone pits. Perhaps Casper or Yuri might have to do it, try something different. They've fallen to right at the back of the grid. And Jacko, how was that restart for you, Jacko? Because obviously all that action was happening around you.
I was asleep and drove for about 8 cars there.
Well, you're into the pits now, and knocking down all the bollards on your way. In fact, you're carrying one of them on your way to the pits, which is nice.
Am I really?
No, it's disappeared now, but you had been carrying it. There you go. You got your karma for that. And obviously, Kyle, you get to lead a few laps now. Any ideas when you're thinking of pitting, or are you just sort of going to let it happen? Obviously, you got Luke's strategist here.
Yeah, I'm going to try and see if I can extend a bit, or I got a bit of clean air. I don't want to be in a pack, and then if a safety car comes, then great.
Well, this is it. You're now, a prime car to take advantage. As we see Pete in the wall. Now, I think it's only an end plate that's gone, so it's not going to bring out a safety car. A lot of reverses going on here, though. You want to be careful he doesn't get himself black flagged. And he has OKK coming up on him, so he's got to move. MK Bourd's also gone for a spin in that middle sector. Iceman is going to be... He's on the back of OKK, but he'll be also closing on Pete's damaged car. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Risky already has a penalty, and that is possibly for speeding. It's a 5-second penalty, so I assume that's what it's for. Rico is fighting away with Jamie Griffiths, who was facing the wrong way at the start of the last lap, but is already back up to 6th place. That's the power of a pit stop for you, for half the field anyway. Everyone around 2nd down to 6th should be staying out. Rico will pit on those softs, and Pete with his damage will pit as well, which will leave Kyle, you, the only driver, still on those softs that you started the race on, and it will leave only the top 6 left to make their first mandatory stop. Remember, there is no Joker driver tonight, which means everyone has got to do a two-stop strategy. Now we've got Kieran having a look at Gareth, who's having a look at Ben Harrett. And probably a good time to point out that Risky's 5-second penalty could really cost him, because this strategy is playing nicely into his hands. He will be right up at the sharp end. And Leroy, I mean, he's only 1.2 seconds of right behind him. He'll be quite happy to sit there, I think, knowing that he'll jump ahead of Risky. He's getting a nice undercut on Ben Harrett, who will be going a lot deeper into the race. And like I said, it was a bit of a surprise to not see Leroy in the playoffs in the first place. But if he can qualify for the Championship 5 in the in the manner of getting through Chase, then that will work out nicely for him. We have seen champions come from the Chase before, Jake in Season 5, and of course Leroy is the reigning Kia Series champion, so it would be quite nice to see him do the two series back to back. Yellow flag for OKK.
Owen, did you know we've gone all this season, well, the few times you've been here, but me every race other than one of them, not knowing that Leroy was actually trying out no traction control. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
That's why he dropped off so much.
Well, he's starting to pick it up now as Gareth overtakes Ben Harrett and is going to get done again on the back straight, so they're fighting against each other here. Maybe a bit too hard, and Gareth actually does hold on, of course. You get that double DRS, don't you, from the detection point at the final corner, and that bailed Gareth out, and he's up into the top 3 at the moment. And he is someone who will be definitely looking for a safety car just to cement his place, really, more than anything, in this last 6. As another battle happening on the main straight is Pete getting past Yuri, who's now down into 17th place. Not really working out for him. Obviously, they're ahead of Okeke, who's doing his usual spinning off the road and not really achieving much, sadly. Game as he goes 41 seconds off the pace in that latest lap, so he's not having a good time of it. And Kyle, still staying out. You're going to go for the first playoff point, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'm just still extending. Tyres feel good, no real complaints, so if I can go a bit further and make the medium stints a bit shorter, then great.
Of course, this will also give you a bit more flexibility if the rain comes a bit earlier than expected, because you'll have a lot more tyre life to play with. As we see Ben Harrett getting done now by Kieran, and Iceman already up into 6th place ahead of MK Bourne. Iceman currently finds himself 19 seconds off the race lead, so we'll keep our eyes on that one. Leroy has now done Risky on the road, which means that penalty for Risky won't really matter too much, and I think Leroy is having a very good race so far. We'll see how it progresses. Jacko, you're sort of in no man's land at the minute. You've got Rico out of your DRS, but you're nowhere near Casper. And you've got loads of DRS, though, it has to be said. You're one of the few drivers who actually has a significant amount. In fact, you have the most out of anyone out there. So, what's sort of your game plan at the moment?
So other than still making up the numbers?
Yeah, I'm trying to make you feel like you're part of the race.
No, I think you're spot on. I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. One pit stop done, so I'm covered off from a safety car. But these guys are faster than me. I'm well aware of that. Cup Series is totally different to Kia Series. You've got to respect the speed that these guys do have. Quite incredible, really.
So I hated to be that guy, Kyle, but couldn't you have just set up for one more lap and got the playoff point?
Nope, I had a massive slide in the S section, so I wasn't doing that. No chance, not for just a playoff point.
Fair enough. Here comes Kieran and Gareth fighting away. Kieran will get a second dose of DRS, but he nearly got through at turn 1. He's going to have a run, but I don't think he's going to go for it. So he had a try into 1, didn't work out, and has decided to leave it and try again on the next lap, presumably. There is another DRS zone coming out of the S's into the stadium section, but I would be very surprised if you get much overtaking there unless there's a massive difference in tyre life or something. No, you're about 4.5 seconds off the net race leader of Iceman, Kyle. So that's your gap you're going to make up. But you have got ahead of Leroy, so that means Leroy's essentially a net 3rd place, doesn't it? So that'll work out very nicely for him in the chase. Now, Okeke's gone again and had a spin at the final corner, and it is a shame to see him all the way down at the back. He will be possibly getting lapped soon enough, actually, as well. But Kieran, going to give another go. Jimmy Wright has picked up the first playoff point. Didn't really have much competition for that one in the end. He's held quite well actually against Gareth, considering the tyres he's on. Perhaps Kieran will be a little bit quicker though as he moves up into second place. And wonder if he can try and chase down Jimmy Wright, who'll be, I assume, trying to get both playoff points perhaps, and then come into the pits. But we'll see how that all works out. Kyle, you just got past MK Bourne, and so you can now see the gap directly between you and Iceman. We'll see how that develops throughout the race. And you're leading that trend now of 3 cars behind you, or 4 cars overall, obviously including you. So MK Bourne, Leroy and Risky. MK Bourne will be looking at his mirrors quite a lot for the next few laps by the looks of it. Quinn, in one of the Mexico liveries, is through Rico into turn 1, and so only up to 13th, but still overtakes or overtakes. Every point, every position is a point, so you'll get some benefit for it. Now, Kieran's already closed the gap down to 1.3 seconds. It was just over 2 seconds at the start of the lap, so Jamie will have to look in his mirrors, not maybe on the next lap, but the lap after. So, definitely going to be aware of that one. DRS for Leroy, again out of the S's. It's so hard to even close in with that DRS zone. It's also, it might as well not be there really, but the moves will happen eventually. Now, who's that? Casper's off again, and he's going to recover in front of Jacko. In fact, well, Jacko will actually get past, as will Quinn. That's 2 cars in one go, is it? No, he just backs off and nearly loses it on exit. Casper might fancy a look back at the inside, and Casper, well, he really is in the thick of it now. He was already in the drop zone coming into this race, but with Gareth and Kyle in front, it's potential for this to fall apart still. Now, MK Bourne's actually had a complete front wing go off, and that might be a total safety car. Indeed it is. So that was, I guess, fighting with Leroy and Risky. I'm not seeing too much damage on either of those 2 cars, though. Has MK Bourne just rear-ended them or something? That would be very bizarre. I would love to know how that's happened, but here's his front wing gone, so he will get to take advantage and make an early pit stop, ironically, as will Jamie Wright, if he chooses to do so. I think he will. Kieran, Gareth and Ben Harrott, who obviously is the chase leader at the minute, isn't he? So this is good news for him. Kyle, you weren't too happy about that, but I think you're still possibly going to beat them all out of the pits.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I did.
Ah, okay. That's. I thought you didn't hear.
You're not that quiet, my friend. As the top 2, top 3, top 4, shockingly, all into the pits. And this is a mandatory stop for all of them. Anyone going to have to stack? It doesn't look like it, which is good news in that sense. And yes, you are going to beat them out. So what were you unhappy about with that safety car coming out? Did you think you weren't going to beat them out?
I didn't think I'd be anywhere near them, to be honest. But it's not too bad. Just quickly on MK Bourne with his crash, he was jumping about quite a bit, so I don't know if he's had a bit of desync. But I mean, the noise I heard, it sounded like he hit someone with a nuke. So yeah, I don't know what's happened there.
Well, it was in the braking zone to turn 1. It almost looked like he just reset the track or something. So it was a weird looking accident. Now, there are some pit stop strategies being completed, and by that I mean 1. Or possibly 2. I think Pete's might also be getting completed right now. But Risky's definitely is. He's got rid of that 5-second time penalty. Saying that, he is on the softs, as is Pete. So actually, just ignore them. They're going to pit again. But yes, it is Iceman, and everyone else has made at least their first mandatory stop. And again, there are no jokers, so they'll all have to be in the pit lane again. So basically, it's as simple as everyone on the screen has to pit one more time to get to the end of the race. And if it rains, which again, these safety cars is going to accelerate that rain cloud. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. The race is longer, the rain's got more time to develop, basically. And this could be 1 or 2 extra laps of rain that you weren't expecting.
I have just asked Jeff. Currently, there's no rain. It might change.
It's only 1/3 of the way into the race, so plenty of time for things to change. This safety car is certainly going to help Kieran the most, because he's going for a very aggressive second stint. Well, he's going for a very aggressive second stint. And Gareth's done almost the complete opposite. He's on the hards, but Kieran's on the softs. And yes, he's got that top 4 in front of him. He's already gone from 19th to 5th. And is looking to, make it up to the lead, I would have thought. He's got the pace for it, quite clearly. He was going to get by Jamie Wright, I think, avoid that safety car coming out. So he will, yeah, see what he can do on those softs, and then maybe take a sit on the mediums or something at the end. But yeah, we'll see how it works out. But a very good start to the race for him so far. Jackie, you're now directly in the middle of the pack, which is, I'm sure, going to be great fun for you.
Yep.
And
The only thing I had anything to say there was Quinn seemingly very keen to get on with things. We're all going to get to the safety car queue at the end of it. I don't know why he's driving so closely to me, but it is what it is. There was no contact.
always happens though, doesn't it, under the safety car? It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So impatient for really no reason. But we'll see how it all goes down. Just waiting for it to come in. I was wondering if it would be this lap, but Jimmy Griffiths says, what's happened there? Jimmy, has there been some illegal overtaking going on at the back? Because Jimmy and Yuri are swapping positions a couple of times. But I was going to say, it might not come in this lap, the safety car, because of OKK's car being so far behind. And Pete's, although Pete's about to catch up, but I think the safety car is going to hold for one more lap.
How is our Pete doing? Because he started on the front row.
17th.
Ah, okay. What happened?
Crash.
He got a lot of wheel spin off the start as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very well.
Of course he crashed. Of course he crashed.
Not my
I've got to ask
champion.
because you never know.
Yes, you do.
People like Tez and OKK, by the way, are at risk of elimination this week in the chase. I'm not sure on the points above OKK, but I think he needs to score a minimum of 12 to stay in it. And 12 points is P5.
Yeah. Tez, by the way, is going to be as good as eliminated tonight. In fact, he might well be flat out completely eliminated because he doesn't show up anymore.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame, although he probably would have put it in the wall anyway, but we know he's got some pace. Connor as well. It's just sad, isn't it, Connor? He was literally half a lap away from winning in Canada, and now he's 18th in the championship. Not even here. He's literally going to finish behind OKK, who genuinely can't keep his car facing in a straight line. So it's a shame to see that all going down. Danny might overtake Pete and Jess tonight. Again, helped by Jess not being here, but still. He's probably going to be the highest of that group who don't have a chance to qualify. The more interesting group to look at, really, will be, again, Leroy, who's in 3rd place in this race. Ben Harrett, the leader of the chase, who's in 7th in this race. Michelle Gurries, 3rd in the chase, sits in 8th. And then obviously Risky, who's made his strategy complete, in 14th. But obviously on those softs, he's not going to really be doing too much on those tyres, apart from hopefully making a good few positions up. But we are ready for another restart, and you're obviously going to have to follow Iceman and get how hard are these restarts from 2nd place, because we never see anyone from 2nd jump up. Is it just too difficult to gauge when the leader's meant to go, or do you just I think have to guess?
I think it's because you're the first car to react to the leader. Everyone's sort of then behind can see 2 cars going, so it makes it easier. But we'll see.
Well, we're away. And this time it looks like it's Leroy's had the bad start, and he's going to get done by Jamie Wright, but I think he's going to get also done by Kieran, who might fancy 2 cars in one. He's got the best tyres. He's already through into 4th. Jamie Wright will look at his mirrors. He'll have to. Down the inside goes Kieran. We've seen this before here. And it tends to work out quite well for Kieran, but there's a lot of contact through 2 and 3. But Kieran does emerge in the top 3, and he'll be able to push on and try and put himself into the running to win this race. He's certainly looking good at the moment if he can keep this one going. And like I say, a previous winner here, he knows how to do it. And of course he is the series champion too. Now look at Ben Harrett. He's fighting with Michelle Gurries, and he's trying to force his way through Gareth as well to put that car gap between himself and the man fighting him for that place in the Championship 5, and he's done so. Now you can see Leroy directly in front of him, and Gareth on those hard compound tyres, a little bit sort of stuck in the middle and not really able to push at the moment. Michelle Gurries will try and go. Quinn indeed has gone, but he's been able to save it and not hit anything, so he will carry on for another day. Risky already up to 9th place, so he is making use of those soft compound tires. That's why I put them on. Quinn finally does recover, but here comes Kieran on the main straight. And Kyle, I have a feeling he'll be all over you because he's just got so much more grip. These are essentially brand new soft compound tyres because those laps under the safety car really would not have done much damage to them. And no DRS either to bail you out on Iceman, although you're both saying in a second. Iceman might well be looking at his mirrors for the next few laps. Although it is, of course, a speed teammate, Pete, or Kieran and Iceman, so that might make it a little bit different. But I think the next lap that's going to get quite tasty. Jamie Wright is outside of DRS range. Now, there's an accident, I believe, at turn 1 involving MK Bourne again, and Pete, and Kyle. You've been done by Kieran. I wasn't even watching that. You're defending it now, but did he just dive bomb you then?
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough. He might well still get you, although that's a difficult move to make into the S section. I think he's wise to back off. What that's done is put you both outside DRS range of Iceman. I think he might well look back on that and regret that move, unless he tries it again. I'll stay on board with him this time. He might have a go at you into the stadium section because he knows he can win this race from here. He knows he's got the speed on these tyres, but they won't last forever. And yeah, I have a feeling you're going to end up being a bit of a sitting duck here, to be honest. As Risky gets himself alongside, but not quite past Michel Garizzo again. Just like Kieran, he's got the better grip on the soft compound tyres, and he's making them work. He's up into 8th place now. He was 14th on the safety car restart, and Michel nearly into the wall. My goodness, that could have been game over. No DRS on the main straight, so it will be actually another lap of just waiting for DRS to happen, because DRS gets enabled but doesn't really get used until the middle of the lap at the end of the S's. But again, I said that DRS zone is utterly useless. You're not going to pass there ever, and most people don't even remember it exists, quite frankly. It's that useless. But well, Kieran might prove me wrong, Risky might prove me wrong. He is on the back of Gareth, he's on the hard compound tyres. It's as good an overtaking opportunity as you'll ever get in this game. And you've caught up to Kyle's DRS again, or to Iceman's DRS again, Kyle. So this is going to bring the whole pack together, because even Jamie Wright is in there now, and he was falling well away a couple of laps ago. That is probably slightly aided by Kieran's dive bomb. Kieran's still got plenty of ERS, and Iceman's using plenty on that DRS straight just to make sure he's got a good gap. I think he knows what's about to happen, and Kieran, he's going to have to pull the trigger sooner rather than later. That's why he tried the move on the last lap. These soft compound tyres will only really last you, what, 6, 7, 8 laps? Based on what your first stint was, Kyle. So this is already his 4th lap on them. And it's not quite close enough to you.
If I can hold him behind while his tyres are good, then I might have a chance. So we'll see.
Not even on the ERS, he knows he's not close enough at the moment, Kieran, into turn 1. And it's what this has done is pulled Jamie Wright back out of it again. Like I say, he just doesn't look to have the confidence at the minute, or the pace of someone who's looking to try and win a 3rd championship. I don't know, I just have that feeling it's not quite going fully to plan for him. But we'll see how it develops in the coming race. There's plenty of time for it to turn around for him. But it could end up being another one of those championship fires like we saw back in Saudi Arabia last season, where or 2 seasons ago, where he just wasn't ever quick enough. As off the road, he's just gone, so he's not really helping his confidence, is he? But just doesn't look confident at all out there. Still within the DRS. Oh, now is that a 2-car incident? Yes, it is. That could be a safety car, and indeed it is. Christ. And he said it again.
Good timing as well.
It is very good timing, because we're at the end of the 2nd stage now. So Iceman will pick up that point, and I imagine on the 2nd lap of the safety car there might well be a flurry of pit stops. Now, Yuri still has a full front wing. It's Rico who lost the front wing in that instance, so I wonder what happened there. But I have a feeling essentially the whole field's going to be going for the pit lane on the next lap.
Oh, and keep in mind, a lot of those guys have already made a safety car pit stop, have they not?
That's a good point, actually. There's a few, haven't they? I don't know.
This is where, if you had a co-commentator, they would be recording this information for you.
Well, you know what? We've got a lap before they all make it back to the pits, so let me have a look and see who pitted. There was only about 5 of them. I just don't remember which 5 it was.
But they were 5 big names from what I recall.
They were, because Kieran's one of them. Kieran is one of them.
I'm going
so he can pit, but it would be non-mandatory.
Rain is just over 10 minutes away.
So it might even be. Would it be worth anyone maybe lower down pitting for some salt and just trying to get there?
Well, I'm sort of thinking top runners might try and extend this now. I'm looking at like Jamie, who pitted under the safety car, I believe. Fresher tyres, he could realistically try and extend.
Well, let's just update you on the pit stop. So Jamie Wright, Kieran, Gareth, Ben Harrett, and Risky all stopped under that last safety car, and K Bourne as well. So everyone apart from that can pit. Okay, Pete Knighton as well actually pitted. So there's actually a decent handful of them. But as you say, that rain's coming. Maybe it is worth extending and then making the second pit stop. In the rain conditions, Gareth might actually not mind this then too much on those hard compound tyres because he's in 8th place. If anyone pits in front of him, happy days. And he will get to extend right to the rain because those tyres should theoretically last the whole rest of the race if he really needs them to. Iceman is indeed into the pits, and he might be a bit concerned to see not many people behind him, but Leroy's in 2, as is Risky. If it does rain, this doesn't really matter if you're making another mandatory stop, does it, at the moment? Because, well, you'll just get to pit again anyway for rain. And everyone from 7th down is in the pits, and Leroy's been held, I think, or no, it's just the game.
It was me. I was held by Risky.
Yeah, it's just the game was holding Leroy's car up, but I was worried for a second there. So everyone then from 7th down has been in the pits again. Risky has already made 3 stops, so he is, I think, good. So that's happy days for him. Okay, I think everyone who's been in the pits is essentially good, because Pete obviously broke front win earlier in the race, he's on 3 stops. So everyone from Risky down, or from Iceman down, is done for the day, in terms of pit stops. The whole top 6 will be left to, well, wait for rain or pit in other green conditions. Like I said, I think Kieran's sort of maybe wishing that he could have pitted. Maybe he should have pitted and then just waited for rain, because those softs aren't going to really be that much use to him for very long.
There's an interesting stat, Owen, that I brought up to Gareth in the podcast earlier, which I will tell you in a second once I've caught back up to OK, because apparently the game really wants to disqualify me. Yeah. In the post-season, nobody has dropped more points from winning positions than Kieran ever in the history of the league.
Really?
Really.
Wow.
Obviously, disqualification and a 5-second penalty in Imola doesn't help, does it?
Well,
Nobody has lost that many points.
Oh, another pit stop, is it? Okay, just getting out of your way. Happy days.
Nice of him.
Yeah. No, it's all ready. Rico also in again. The Clydes are starting to cover the track a little bit, aren't they? I don't know if you've got any more updates on the rain when it's coming, but it is starting to develop. This doesn't feel like somebody's going to come the last 2-3 laps, does it, anymore? Because we're in our 3rd safety car period. That has slowed down this race by a good 5 to 10 minutes. Which is a long time when you're expecting late race rain without safety cars. In fact, Rico's already on the intermediates, so he clearly thinks it's about to push it down.
He's going to do a Nils from Kia Series Season 2.
Wow. He'll need a miracle, frankly, because, I mean, the clouds are covering over, but the sun is still out, so, yeah, that's going to be tropical weather he's looking for, rather than just a flat-out rain, traditional rain, and we're right on board for a little bit, just enjoy this. Yeah, it's pretty grim, this. I don't know why he's done this. Unless his engineers told him. I mean, you just can ask your engineer again, in case they said rain in 5 minutes or something like that, because I don't see any other reason why he would be pitting right now.
Still 10 minutes at the moment.
Yeah.
It's 15 for me, 1-5.
Well, that's going to be a long stint then for Rico, as a safety car comes in at the end of this lap. And Kyle, now it's your chance to conduct a safety car restart.
Yep, see how it goes.
Said confidently.
Yeah, not really.
Safety car will be on its way into the pit lane. And
sorry, excuse my French.
professionalism really has got out the wind in the last 2 weeks.
Hasn't it?
Right, here comes Kieran pulling alongside. And he's called that restart pretty perfectly, Kyle. You might find yourself being, well, frankly, just dumb here into turn 1. Because for the first time I've ever seen, someone in second place is actually going to challenge for the lead on a safety car restart, and Quinn on the main straight's already had an accident. So go on how that happened. Kieran, right on the outside. Again, you've got the championship fight to think about, Kyle. You don't want to end up wiping yourself out of the race. And Kieran into the lead. But now here comes Jamie Wright and Ben Harrett, who's up there in 4th place. And can Jamie Wright do what he did a couple of seasons ago and take 2 cars in one go? Yes, he can. He's into the race lead again here in Mexico City. And after all the moaning I've been doing about him not having the confidence, he's up into the lead. And Kyle, you've got yourself back past Kieran as well. He will be absolutely kicking himself. He won't be able to believe what's happening to him. As Jamie Wright, I don't think he has the pace. I still don't think he has it. As MK Bourne goes for a spin. But we'll see if he can hold on to the lead for now. He's not crashed in the S's. That's already an improvement on Season 5's overtaking. No, is that Iceman finally getting himself through on Gareth? It took him a little while to get himself moving, but he's now on his way up. Of course, he is still net race leader, but there's a long way to go in this thing yet, and like I say, we are expecting some weather, so he might have to actually fight for the lead on track yet. Here comes Risky. He's also finished his pit stop strategy, so he's looking pretty handy actually. And straight away, you're back into the lead, Kyle. Like I say, I think Jimmy's, well, what's he going to do? He was pretty confident on the restart, but he had to use a lot of ERS to do it. Saying that, he's still got about 40% left, so there's a chance for another return battle, but I have a feeling he's too far back this time. So Michel Goris has had an accident this time, and he's fallen down to 12th place. And this is still pretty damn close at the front, and you've left a massive amount of space for Jimmy Wright. And I think he maybe was wishing he would have taken it, because I don't think he realised there was going to be that much room. And Kieran nearly took the 2 of yous.
I see the marker come up and just backed out of it.
It is the sensible thing to do, isn't it? Because you're sat in the race lead, you know the amount of points you've got to make up. Not the end of the world if you finish 2nd while you've got Yuri done in 14th place. So, yeah, exactly. Yellows for 2 cars. This is for Gareth and for Jamie, and that could be another safety car because the whole front wing's gone from Jamie Griffith's car. It looks like it's going to stay green now. And Gareth, well, he's Mr. Consistent, but he's right at the back now. On those hard compound tyres, he's not really going to be able to do much from there, even if the rain comes. So that's a massive blow for him. Kieran moves over to let Iceman through. That's just going to really up the morale for the front 2, I would have thought. And that's, yeah, fair play from Kieran, but he might find himself, well, he's got no choice actually. He's on 12 lap old sauce. It's not going to really have much more life left to give. Peaked up into 7th place again. That last safety car's really reignited his race, and the man who was 2nd on the grid is trying to put himself right back up in the thick of it in the action here. And we see Ben Harrett and Risky side by side. This is a very important fight for the chase, and it's a fight that's being won by Risky at the moment. And yellow flags for OKK again. Has he hit anything? No, he's not. He's just going to cut through the stadium section. Casper, by the way, is up in 9th place. Looking at where we are in the championship standings, I have a feeling he could still get himself through. This is going to be really difficult because since Yuri's having a bad day, this has absolutely opened it up for Casper and of course for yourself, Kyle, in the lead. And Iceman up into 2nd place, fighting away with Jamie Wright. And they're going to keep it going through the hairpin. Iceman over a 2nd though behind Kyle, which means he's going to be looking in his mirrors because he's got the whole field on him as they head through to start lap 25. And I think Iceman, who fought so hard to get that position through, Risky is absolutely flying as well. And there could be some team play. I have a feeling if there's a chance to give Risky the win here, I think Iceman will certainly help him get there because Jimmy Wright has just got past him again, and that means Risky's now the car directly behind Iceman. This is fascinating stuff and terrific pace from the, I believe, only one-time race winner in the Cup Series, all the way back in Season 2 Austria for Risky, so it's been a long time, but we've seen long gaps between race victories broken already this season with what was his name? MK Bourne, MK. In thank you, in Canada earlier on in the season, so anything can happen in the remaining laps here, and it looks like Jamie is really struggling for the S section here. And Iceman is having a horrible lap and a half. He might be the first driver I've ever seen do a DRS overtake out of the S's, and indeed he is. He's through. Incredible stuff. Jimmy Wright tries to fight him back, but I think he'd be happy enough to take the DRS again into the next lap. And this whole field is being sort of strung together by this fight, and looks like Casper's made up another spot, getting himself through on Pete. But onto the main straight once more. Risky might fancy 2 cars in one go here because he's got way more ERS. And that might even save Iceman, because Jimmy Wright, if he passes him into turn 1, it's going to be 2 slow cars on that back straight. This is fascinating stuff here. They're properly going for it. And Jamie, well, let's see the run. Not too bad on the grip considering the age of his tyres. He's got 8 lap older tyres. He knows he likes a good dive bomb in towards turn 5, or turn 4 I should say, but he's not going to do it. And that might just release Iceman into the pack. Now, Casper's up to 6th. He's really making himself through here. And his race is definitely back on. He's a net 3rd after all the pit stops happen, assuming it's not stopping for intermediate tyres. And you've got to assume, at this stage, Kieran... Oh! Jamie's done it again! Through the S section. He has put it in the wall. And Risky, as we get a virtual safety car. Risky now finds himself directly behind Iceman. And again, I'll say it. He finds himself at the moment in the chase standings 8 points off Ben Harrett, who's won a race. Leroy has also won a race. Could Risky become the 3rd chase winner of the season? I think he's got a pretty good chance of it. Although again,
it would be a record. Also, Risky is missing one of the races after this. I think he's missing France.
Yeah, Kieran's taking this opportunity to pit Jacko, and this is, well, since the fighting was so fierce, the whole field is still pretty much bunched up together. So even though it's happening under virtual safety car, he's still going to fall right down. And it's getting pretty dark out there. I guess he just didn't have a chance to keep the tyres alive for much longer. But the sunset conditions are fully turned into cloudy conditions now, and everyone's full throttle again. Are we about to go green? No, just catching up on deltas. And of course, you can tell us when the restart command is up on screen, because it'll be very important to see if Iceman can judge it right and get into DRS range. What will he do about Risky? Surely he recognises the opportunity to give his teammate a win and help him into the Championship 5. And we are green once again. No one got any drive-through penalties or anything, so we've all survived. And Risky, I believe, is in DRS range of Iceman. So, what's Iceman going to do about that? Is he going to just try and close up to Kyle, or is he going to help his teammate out? Obviously, it's not guaranteed this is for the win yet, because if it tips it down, Kyle, you'll have a chance. How are your tyres looking, though?
Terrible.
Oldest tyres out there. Do you reckon you can get right to the rim? How long's it away, do you know yet?
Well, Jeff's saying 5 minutes, so I'm going to try. If it punches my tyres, it punches my tyres at this point.
Well, if you don't, well, this is a bit of race fixing. If you don't mind helping Risky win the race for entertainment value, you know, fight Iceman a wee bit, that'll be very much appreciated. As Risky does get the DRS, and we see side by side Ben Harrett and Pete Knighton, and Pete up into the top 5 now. He's on a bit of a topsy-turvy evening, but he's fighting away still, which is good to see. And
Owen, what's the penalty situation for everyone?
No one has any penalties, apart from OK,
really?
Who's 24 seconds off the pack, and he only has 5 seconds probably for speeding. So, which is ironic. But yes, no one's got any penalties at the moment, which is
incredible.
Thank goodness for that, because it's nice to have a straight fight for once. Now, Jimmy and Jamie are fighting, and Risky, oh no, Risky! He's lost his whole front wing. That could be a full safety car, but I think it's staying green. And I tell you what, a full safety car would have really shaken the strategy up. But now Iceman, well, he's not got a teammate to worry about, has he? So all he has to do is fight Kyle, and again, Kyle, by far the oldest tyres out there on track, 19 laps old. Next closest is Ben on 16, Ben Harrett, not obviously Ben Shaw, because Ben Shaw is about to pass you for the race lead, as Casper sets the fastest lap. So it's all starting to come together here. Iceman through.
Fighting it.
Yeah, it's probably the simple thing to do, isn't it? We've seen here before, when the rain gets involved, that's when it gets properly interesting. Leroy, Ben and Michelle are all fighting as well, and they are the top 3 in the chase, and they are obviously the leading chase drivers out there as it stands, apart from Pete of course, but he's too far back. So these 3 sticking together all this time is going to make for a fascinating ending, because they're going to be hitting the points off each other rather than going up together, because I think they're fighting too hard for this. They're all over the track trying to make things happen. OKK's creating more yellow flags. He might be caught by you guys soon, because you're only an S section away from him. You'll be able to start to see him soon, because he is struggling so much out there. The 2 Jamies are still scrapping. There's potential for another safety car here if these guys keep mucking about, and if that happens, this is thrown right up in the air because of safety car stops, etc, etc. And yellow flag again. You'll never guess who that's for. It's OKK, who you're really catching up to now. Hopefully he picks out of the way actually, but I don't think he's going to. He's going to stick out there. The 2 Jamies are still hitting each other down in 14th and 15th, and they're pushing each other around the track. It's almost like they're trying to cause an accident. I don't know what's happening there. And yeah, they're driving so erratically at the moment, as Casper closing in again. Down towards turn 1, he's down on the inside into 2nd place. What a recovery he's having. And I said I had a good feeling about him. Can he push on and win this race yet? Jacko getting through on Yuri, and on for a best ever league result if you finish here, I believe.
Rain is imminent.
And, well, with 7 laps to go, including this one, that means there'll almost certainly be an opportunity to pit for the intermediate tyres. This really is a little bit similar to Season 5 when it happened at the same time as this. And it did go to inters in about 1 to 2 laps. It was a very quick turnaround. So, stay tuned is what I'm saying, because this could get quite exciting in the next few moments. It's already been a pretty entertaining race. And,
So it sounds like a classic so far.
It's been pretty fun to watch, I'll give it that. Leroy's holding the DRS gap to Michelle Gorries quite well, but he's heading Michelle and then Ben Harrett. Ben, who will be under pressure because he is now on the equal, or not quite, sorry, bar Kyle, the equal second highest tire wear out there on 18, about to become 19 lap all tyres. And what sort of percentage of your tyres on now, Kyle, as the Risky's off the road again?
All within the 60s.
Oof. So that is a bit tricky. When the rain comes, I assume you'll be trying to pit ASAP then, because that'll be extremely slippery.
Yeah, hopefully it just chucks it down straight away.
Well, there's still no sign of it actually falling yet, is there? I mean, plenty of time for it, and there's still yellow flags out there. And I think that's just for OKK moving out of your guy's way.
Yeah.
OKK really having a shocker here, unfortunately. It's become, let's say, it's almost a regular feature seeing him and sadly being lapped by people and having issues. No one's really having any fighting at the minute, bar Yuri on the back of Jacko, but even then I don't think anything's going to happen through the S's unless there's an accident, so... It's all just...
Oh, please rain.
I think it's all just waiting for the rain. You can tell Kyle is really getting desperate for it. And I don't blame it, because of the way the tyres are at the minute, you really are praying for it to happen. Because you're about to give Pete a chance at the podium if he keeps catching like this. And that will just be a shock to the system.
Yeah, it's literally just for me, either the tyre blows up or it rains. So
what happens if there's a
we'll
safety
see.
car? Can you make another pit stop on the safety car, or did you already do yours?
I didn't know.
So that could help as well. There'll be people out there who won't be able to do it.
Raining.
And it is raining now, so, well...
Here we go.
Like I said, the gaps have all stretched out quite a bit, though. This is going to give people a chance to sort of be a lap or two off and not lose anything, because, sadly, all the close fighting at the front is sort of stopped.
Proper raining.
Yeah, heavy.
Is it?
It's getting quite heavy straight away.
Yeah, very quick.
On my screen, it's just spitting.
Oh, your screen is wrong.
Wow. Gareth's already onto intermediates, so he's making his call nice and early, although... The thing is, right, I'm looking at this. I think Gareth's possibly... I think he's getting knocked out here, you know, Gareth. I just... Unless this is the best call he's ever made. With Casper up in second place and Yuri 5 cars ahead of Gareth, he's going to get knocked out. And sadly, you are as well, Cal, as it stands. I don't really think there's much you can do about it.
Yeah, I was expecting it, to be honest. 2 disconnects, quite a few incidents at the start of the season, so it's one of them.
No one pitting at the front then. And, well, no one else fancied it just at all. I mean, Rico and Risky are the only other 2 drivers out there on those inters. Kieran is going to go for it. He's obviously the man who won last time it rained here. And Ben has just been done by 2 cars in one straight, Ben Harrett. So he's, yeah, his tyres are definitely crying out for help. You can only imagine what's happening to Kyle's.
I'm crying myself, there's a difference.
That's not rain, people, actually, believe it or not.
That's my tears.
Yeah, quite salty, I would have thought as well. But, oh well. The rain gods are not helping. I really do wonder if this is ever going to get heavy enough for intermediates, because it doesn't look it right now. It doesn't look it. And there's been no sort of mistakes from anyone on dries. No one's really under much pressure, I don't think. But we'll see what goes on. Any accidents could still run out of safety car for maybe the next sort of lap. But there's really running out of time even for that to shake things up. So it really will be down to the drivers to make it happen for themselves. As Iceman down the main straight. Casper's got some nice DRS on the back of Risky. I'm sure he'll happily take a little bit of that just to help extend the gap to Kyle a little bit more. And indeed he does, and that's more bad news for Risky on his intermediates. Not only has he been overtaken by someone on dries, but it was a DRS move as well, which of course means it's not wet enough for inters because it's still on. So, yeah, not great. I think the smart money is to stay out now, to be honest with you. Everyone, the thing is though, Kyle, of course you can't really do that, nor can Ben Harrett or NK Bourne. They need this. They need this to happen. And it to be intermediates, and OKK's in the wall, but not enough to put out a safety car because he's not damaged the front wing enough, unless he sits there for long enough, but he's going to recover, I think. So there will come a point where you've got to commit to the pit stop, and that moment, sadly, looks like it's going to be quite soon, and it doesn't look like it's going to be for inters.
No, this is just teasing me at this point.
More yellow flags. OKK he's in the wall this time, but it's only a little bit of front wing damage. He's praying to put a safety car, but he just can't manage it. And MK Bourne and Ben Harrett, this is potentially a bruising day for Ben Harrett in terms of the Chase Championship, because Leroy's up there in 5th at the moment. He'll finish 10th, probably, Ben Harrett, but it's not what it could have been. He tried for up the inside of MK Bourne again. Oh, he's going for the pits now. I think they both have to make one more stop actually, don't they? So Ben could fall a little bit further down. This could be a defining moment in his championship, but we'll see. As NK Bourne will put on inters. Ben Harrett will pit for some softs. I do think that's the better tyre to be on, quite frankly. Yellows for OKK again, but you already knew that. And yeah, this rain just doesn't look like it's ever going to get heavy enough, so I'm going to guess it's going to end up having to be a cheeky set of the sauce, and it's being confirmed by the fact that you on 26 lap old tyres, you're catching up to Risky on inters.
Yeah, it just hasn't come down heavy enough. It's worth the gamble, but didn't quite pay off.
All this is allowing Iceman to continue on in the lead of the race. Casper in second, and it will be a first. I believe it's the first podium of the season, wouldn't it be for Pete? I don't know if Jacko can confirm that. Might be the first podium for a good while actually. I don't remember the last time it was on the podium, but I'll be into the pits, Kyle. Just to get yourself black flagged, and there you go. That's gonna be out of the championship then for you, I'm afraid. It'll be you and Gareth, by the looks of it, who go out of this season's championship at this stage. OKK gets penalties. Again, he's the only driver out there to have any penalties. It's been terrific driving in that sense from everyone out there. And Michel Garis is trying on this final lap to have another go at Leroy to get some crucial points for him in the Chase Championship, but he's not had the best exit out of the chicane. I think Leroy at the minute is going to hold on and get a very important 4th place in this Chase Championship. It will put him well up at the top because Ben Harrett's only in 10th place, and it's just not really enough for him to do do any damage. And Leroy, like I say, he's trying to go back-to-back, win Kia last season, win the Cup this season. And, well, this is a good night for him in that situation. But let's look at the race leader. Jake O'Sullivan, the only driver who has 3 race wins so far. And we're about to make that 2. As Ben comes through the final corner. Now he's got Rico in front of him. Not going to pose much of a threat. And across the line, Iceman takes the Mexico City Grand Prix. Casper gets himself through into the next round of the playoffs with a very impressive 2nd place. And now it's too wet for dry tyres. Typical. Pete gets his podium. He converted a P2 to a P3. He'll take that. Leroy in 4th. Great day for him. Michelle in 5th. And Yuri, the other driver who will qualify for the round of 6. A very, very impressive run it was in the end to get himself back up to P6. Jacko, best ever result in 7th. Kyle, it's 8th, but out of the playoffs. Kieran goes from the back of the grid to nearly the wall. In fact, he's slowing down to help Ben Harrett and others. So he's just letting everyone through, actually. He might get as a black flag if he sits there long enough. So Ben will finish 9th, MK Bourne 10th, Jimmy Wright 11th. Kieran's now coming back onto the track. He's trying to help Gareth maybe, but Gareth's out of it. He's completely out of it. He was only 5 points clear of Casper, and Casper's going to finish 2nd place. And Yuri, he was only 2 points clear of him. He's going to finish 6th. So he didn't even help him through in the end. I don't know what Kieran was doing that for.
Pardon me.
We've got Jimmy Griffiths is also just crawling around for the sake of it. Rico's finished 15th, Risky and OKK, they were 3-lap cars. So Jimmy is just the last car we're trying to get to the end. What is he doing? What is he doing?
No front wing, Owen.
He's trying to ride on the back of the race-winning car. And finally the race comes to an end. Took long enough. And so, there we go. It's Kyle, it's Gareth, the next 2 to join Jamie Griffiths and MK Bourne as no longer in contention for the championship. I would also possibly actually say you can end up counting Tez into that as well, but he might have a technical chance. Same with Connor, same with who was the other one? I forget. Let me have a little look for you. Okay, of course. Now, right, let's try and remember the new feature, if I can find it. The Tesco Club Card matchup stuff and the... What was the big fight for today? What was it called again? My internet's not
Ben
working.
Harrett and Michelle Goris. So Michelle Goris goes through.
Yeah, I can't check the standings because my internet's broken, so I'm afraid I can't actually tell you anything.
I got it.
Why is it?
Kieran beats Tez.
Quite how the stream is still up, I don't really know, but we'll not question it.
Yeah, Kieran beats Tez, Casper beats Quinn, Risky, and Jamie Griffiths. I think it's Jamie Griffiths, isn't it? It is. So, yeah, Jamie Griffiths goes through. Mike beats Connor because Connor's not here. Kyle beats OKK. Is it Pete beats Yuri?
It would be, yeah, on the
There's
podium.
an upset. Michelle Goris beats Ben Harrett and Leroy beats Jess because she wasn't here, so that's the Club Card shootout.
Yeah, that was the Tesco Finest main event, was the one I was trying to find. So, yeah, Michelle, Ben Harrett. It was won by Michelle. There's the order again for you. Iceman, Casper, Pete, Leroy, Michelle Goris, Yuri, Jacko, Kyle, Ben, MK Bourne, Jimmy, Kieran. I'm hearing my own voice in the background. It's really distracting. Gareth, Jamie Griffiths, Rico, Risky, OKK, Quinn, Newgarden. I'm trying to talk over myself, and that just makes me louder. So weird. Anyway, that'll be our lot for this round, and we go next to Monza. And really, that's not the one we're interested in. It's the Paul Ricard Super Duper Speedway. It's not actually called Super Duper, but it's called Super Speedway. Maybe we could do a renaming. But yes, I bet you'll be thrilled to know that France will be on next year's F1 game. So if this Super Speedway race ends up being a success, we could end up seeing it more often. First made its debut in Season 5. I don't really know how it went down, to be honest with you, but it's back in Season 7. But that is after Monza, which will be a normal race next Thursday. And so hopefully I'll be here again. Jacko hopefully will be here again. And Kyle, we might be somewhere. I don't know if we'll have a different driver in comms. Hopefully, ideally, I'll have Jacko in comms, and maybe we'll have another driver. But we'll see when we get to next week. So thank you, Kyle, for your guest appearance. It's been a pleasure.
No worries.
Shame you didn't get through, but you certainly gave it a good attempt. We'll give it that.
Yeah, it was worth a try. I mean, I knew it was going to be quite a long shot to get through, so I just thought stick on the slicks, see if I can get to Winters, but it just had to be that one extra lap that I needed. It's one of them.
And Jacko, hopefully you'll be back in comms next week.
Oh, I was in comms this week until I realised I was in with a shout of a good result. Then I started concentrating.
Yeah, wow.
I'll take a P7 on merit, but then again, lots of people spun. So
yeah, so
P7. The stats will say I was 7th. That's all that matters.
Yeah, but you did luck into it. So thank you for watching this week's
Cheers.
edition of the JACKOCAR Cup Series here. That was round 14. There were definitely no big announcements that I was planning to make today that were leaked by someone else. I don't think anyone was paying attention. I don't even think he was paying attention when he said, I don't think Kyle has any idea what I'm talking about. So
I've got no idea what you're on about.
Exactly, so there's nothing to talk about. So we'll be back next week for round 15 in Monza. Don't forget there's also the Kia Series coming up next week. I can't honestly tell you where we are, but me and Gareth should be in the commentary box for that one to insult more drivers, including Jacko himself. So thank you all for watching. And safe travels and take care.